I don't think anyone can forget these images you're about to share with us. We talked about this Pride event over the weekend at the White House and the flags and how they were hanging equally with the American flag, which was outrageous. And now here we are on Flag Day and everybody can take that in. But now videos have emerged on social media about what was happening behind the scenes there. And there was some kind of a topless trans person who's making a lot of news this morning. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys. Good to see you both. You know, it's truly incredible when you take a step back and you just look at the juxtaposition, what's going on in the world right now versus what's going on in this White House. You know, you look at China, you've got Gordon Chang and others who study communist China warning of the imminent threat China poses to the United States, saying that U.S. is not prepared for a war with China. You look at our own federal government descending into tyranny, the weaponization of our judicial system and federal agencies against its own people, interfering in our elections. You look at what's going on, the invasion at our southern border, inflation. You can go on down the list. And, you know, with all of this going on, what is the Biden White House doing? Watch for yourself.
Can we take a little video? Hi, Mr. President. Hi, how are you? It is an honor. Trans rights are human rights. Oh, it's a video. Oh, it's a video.
What is going? The monument is right?
Gay news.
It's so damn. Are we topless at the White House? Hi, feminine.
So that video clip was posted on TikTok by a trans influencer called Rose Montoya. And yes, there you see it. It shows topless transgender activists proudly taking off their clothes on the south lawn of the White House. Critics are blasting the incident, calling it an international embarrassment and a disgrace. The 27-year-old trans activist, who was a biological male, was invited as a guest for an event celebrating Pride Month on Saturday. Montoya even meeting, shaking hands, and taking selfies with the president and first lady shortly before baring his fake breasts for the world to see, with the White House, by the way, in full view behind him. Biden addressed the LGBTQ crowd on Saturday, calling them an example for the world.
You're some of the bravest and most inspiring people I've ever known. And I've known a lot of good folks. You set an example for the nation and, quite frankly, for the world.
Now, critics and military veterans also blasting the administration for violating the U.S. flag code by displaying the American flag at equal level with a pride flag at that event. Now, as all of this imagery is spreading online, a new poll was released that may show patience is wearing thin for the trans agenda. A new Gallup poll shows that 69% of Americans now say transgender athletes should only be allowed to compete on sports teams that align with their birth at gender. And in a more general sense, a majority of Americans, 55%, believe that changing one's gender is morally wrong, while 43% say it's morally acceptable. So all of this really just highlighting how fundamentally unserious this country, this administration has become, while we face serious threats from our adversaries around the world, while people lose their retirements, their livelihoods, and so on. This is what our federal government wants to prioritize. This is the message, Ed and Karen, that it wants to send out to the world.
Yeah, I'm going to choose my words carefully, but I teed it up as saying that there's going to be some images you're not going to be able to forget, Karen. And this was happening at the White House. This is what this White House promotes.
There's no decorum anymore. I don't know how else to sum that up. And what if this was a real woman? If this was a real woman, this would be considered public indecency. No, They would arrest that woman. This woman would be topless, but because this is a man with fake breasts, this is acceptable now in today's America. Just mind-boggling, Carolyn.
Well, and there was a biological female right next to him who had her breasts removed, who was also posing topless. The whole thing is so distasteful. And, you know, the White House did, a spokesperson came out and said these people will never be invited back. They condemned it. But still, it just goes to show you what a lot of that part of society believes is acceptable. This person went and proudly and has come out in the days since with all the backlash and defended what their actions were.
Yeah.
The whole thing is really just quite disgraceful.
I think Karen spoke for a lot of people who have their breakfast right now when she said, oh, in terms of the second person that was also showing some stuff off. Carolyn, outstanding reporting as always.
Didn't occur to me. I didn't occur to me that was the picture. Wow.